Evening, you Rowan. How are you? Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind Live 236. We'll just get through the parish notes because we've got a bit of an odd announcement to make about Sister Mary. I'm a little worried about her, but I will get to that in a moment. I've given up on the steroids. I can't run 9.61, so I'm giving up on the steroids. Didn't work, and it's made my voice a little thinner for some inexplicable reason. So I've dropped them, stopped them, not having that, but I'll stay on the antibiotics. So hopefully the cough will be less this evening, because fuck me, people are like, oh, don't like your cough, don't watch fucking videos then. Tough crowd. So welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. Neil's in first. Welcome, Neil. Neil Cunningham. Good evening to all the congregation. Adrian, great video yesterday about the convicted stalker. Unfortunately, a leopard doesn't change its spots. He's on a downward slide back to the clink. Thank you, Neil. Des Ashton says, watcha, mateys. Plenty of good swag from the Rev getting up online. Really looking forward to the live and reading what we all have to say. Yeah, you can comment on the David Icke interview video if you wish. Thank you to Stu again, Stu Sydenham, who was very kind in tracing that and creating that little video. As I say, it's from 2006. So it kind of references some old stuff, but even the old stuff from David Icke is still well ahead of the curve for most other people. So we can talk about that this evening if you wish. Welcome, Des. Just as well, I saw your comments a little earlier, Les. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see them now. Paulie Gallieri says, good evening, Adrian. You're utter wrong, and hope you've had a good day. It's been interesting today. The news has been changing as the day has gone on. Read the newspapers this morning, and I don't know whether you... I think the word is take. One doesn't buy the Sunday Times. One takes the Sunday Times. So I don't know whether you took the Sunday Times this morning and saw DC Janet Percival's interview in hang on a second. It's going to show backwards, so I'm not really sure. But that's Janet Percival. The Sunday Times, in essence, kind of did the same interview that I did. But Janet was on the ball and the money, as ever. It's page 13 in the news section of today's Sunday Times. If you haven't seen the Janet Percival video, I suggest you go and have a look at it. It's about 90 minutes long, and it's just packed with facts. The David Icke, exactly the same. So I am... and I think it was, I'll get to Stuart in just a little while, but I am going to do more interviews on the channel, because I think that as well as this, as well as the lives, as well as all the other videos, some people are saying, oh, is Dougie the only thing that you can concentrate on? No, I've done nearly 500 hours worth of these lives, and I know the people that saying, oh, are you concentrating on Dougie? I know they haven't watched a single one of these lives because these are too intelligent for them. Bless them, another IQ point, they'd be a lamppost. Welcome, Paulie. Boxer Ricky Hatton found dead at home. Going to talk about that a little later, Les, obviously. Andy Turner says, sad news about Ricky Hatton. Met him once at a charity do I was DJing at, and also comparing. He made time to thank me for all the work that night. Nice guy. Would not have argued with him, though. No, his body shots were brutal. And yes, we're going to talk about Ricky, because it was a bit of a shock today that sort of knocked everything into a cocked hat, I think. We do have the Orange Man arriving this week. He'll get out of the coach and say to Charles the Wig, you've been tangoed. If it's actually the real Donald, of course. Des Ashton says, Adrian, that David Icke interview was gold. So glad you managed to get it up on the channel. Looking forward to the chat responses tonight. Of course, everyone can ask questions about it if you wish, or talk about anything you want. David Graham says David Icke has a new book coming out sometime in early 26. If I heard right, I do hope that is so. A book every couple of years keeps him in the old shekels. And Les Griffith says, they mocked David mercilessly on that show. They're talking about Wogan, I think. However, he has been proven correct over the years. Yeah, and I think within the video, you'll see that he asks Wogan a question, and Wogan has no clue. Of course he wouldn't. Wogan wasn't that type of interviewer. He wasn't deeply into the conspiracy and or things that made people think. But David was, and David eloquently made his point. Yeah, let's go that way. David Graham says, evening from a great night in Sunderland. Aye, it's raining. Paulie Galtieri saying evening. Gene Psychic. I love the David Icke podcast. Thank you, Gene. Les Griffiths, 80 banks closed in America in the last 6 weeks. Oh, I say. I wonder why that is, Les. Well, we all know. Dougie is the gift that keeps on giving, says Adam. And Gene Psychic, good evening. Just dropping in. My son's getting married in the morning. I will catch up in the week. Take care. Gene Psychic, have a fantastic day tomorrow. I hope the rain stays away. But to my one and only wedding, the rain came, but we had a bright yellow umbrella ready, and it just added to the photographs, to be fair. So I do hope you have a lovely, lovely, lovely day tomorrow, Jane. And any chance of a bit of wedding cake goes nicely alongside a little Battenberg, of course. Where are we? Evening, hope you're well. Great interview with David. Thank you, Tom. Retro on his bikes is in the body of the Kirk this evening. Welcome, Retro. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, as ever. Phil Levan. David Icke was fucking right. Of course he was. Mike's Alligators. All right, Adrian, I hope you're doing well. Yes, thank you, Mike's. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And Stuart, didn't know about Dougie until I saw your video, Rev. Yeah, it's always a shocker, always a surprise. Louise Hampson and Random Jack back from holiday with a bug. Oh, depends what bug that is, Random Jack. The Saints number one. Hello, everyone. Hello, the Saints number one. And ban the BBC. Oops, I arrived a bit late to the body of the Kirk. I always feel at home here. Interesting. Newbie, ban the BBC. Let's see how things play out. And Random Jack, let's see how things play out. Hell on Earth. Oh, that's clever. Just sat on some Battenberg. Sister Mary offered to eat it. I bet she did. Hell on Earth, welcome. And E-Bill Cooney. Hi, Adrian and all. E-Bill. Quite a few newbies early doors. I wonder what caused that. Tell you what fits in. Did you argue with PS? If not, license conditions will stand. If not, challenged. But if you do ask for things and give a good reason, probation normally grant. Oh, interesting. Phil Sumner, evening, Rev. What's wrong with covering Dougie? It's your channel. If they don't like it, they can Foxtrot Oscar. I tend to agree. But I do, as I said at the very beginning, there's lots of lives here with lots packed with information. And I do suggest that any newbies that are in the chat this evening haven't really cottoned on to what we do in the lives, suggest you go and watch them all, because you'll see over nearly 2 years, 500 hours. It'll take you a long time to watch them, but we do things very differently here. This is interactive. And we don't stand for any nonsense. Stuart says, you've done more hours of lives than videos about Dougie. I think this evening I'm not going to concentrate on the convicted stalker, simply because he has no right of reply. So I'll wait. I'll be patient. And if and when he has his social media returned, I wonder if he'd like to come on one of these lives. So he can have a right of reply. His team will be watching this. He has a right of reply, and I'm more than happy when he is allowed for him to sit on a live. He can do it with me, and then we can just tackle all the lies, really, and then get him to explain what he means by stuff. And I'm more than happy to have Dougie on any one of these lives. So the team that's watching, pass it on. Lauren Taylor, you're too funny. Right, okay, E-Bill Cooney. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Is he banned from uploading on social media as well, or just YouTube and his website? Everything, Stuart. Everything. The whole internet. No site, no app, nothing. Upload, modify, add, or stuff. He's just not allowed, from what I've seen. And some moron, some scum sucking pond life, came on to the comments and says, how do we know that that's an official statement? And I showed it in the video. It was his statement. Why would I alter that? Because for journalistic rigour, I'm just repeating what was said in the statement and then adding my own thoughts, and I can't work people out at all. Dougie won't take you up on it. He hasn't got the balls, Les Griffiths says. Well, the offer's there. The right of reply is there. Always has been, including my right of reply to everything that he's ever said. So it kind of, swings and roundabouts. Beata says, not sure if he's been taken down because some think he might be. Not sure what that is, Beata. Apparently, there's some nasty things to come out about him, but I still think that he needs therapy rather than prison. Beata, my only response to that is, you're correct. I won't elaborate, but I do know, and you are correct. Helen Earth says, I'm not new, only to commenting. I've been watching you since you started, sir. Normally on catch-up. Brilliant stuff. Oh, hell on earth. Welcome. Welcome. I think the commentator meant official words of probation and not Dougie lying his arse off. Oh, right, okay. Sorry, Terry. I see you. I meant when... Oh, honestly, I touched the wheel on my mouse and it just goes a bit nuts. I meant when his restrictions are lifted. I think that's what Adrian meant. Yes, I did, Les. Yeah, I think the restrictions are for while he's on licence. Look, the advice that I gave him years ago whilst he was inside, and I told his team who watch all of these, I told his team exactly what I thought he should do. And he didn't listen to me. And my advice was wise and sage. And it was head down, arse up, so long as nobody parks their bike. Just stay away from social media. But it's for him, was a way of making a huge life-changing amount of money. And I'm sure he thought he just had to come out and do the same old shtick, and he was just going to get tons of money in many varying ways, from the tours, the merch, behind the paywall and everything. But my advice to him was, and it turns out it was close to the mark, head down. Don't tug the tiger's tail. Do what you're good at, what you're passionate about, not about grifting for money. Because soon enough, the fraud case is going to rear its ugly head. It will. It's massive, but it will. So there is stuff and stuff and stuff. But my advice from the get-go stands true. And if any of his team doubt it, look where you are now. And that's because I know him. And people, and he said in videos, I will finish with this because I want to get on to it. There's a lot of other stuff to talk about today. Charlie Kirk, Ricky Hatton, lots of stuff. And I'm going to vary it. I'm not going to go in deep and heavy for the whole of the live tonight. I want to balance it out so that people can, sometimes they might want to go make a cup of tea. So there's a bit that they might not like. So they'll go make a cup of tea and come back and that bit will be finished. But we will do the heavy stuff. We will do the geopolitics, but we'll do the light stuff. We'll do Downton Abbey, and we'll do some TV stuff, because it's the 50th anniversary of Fawlty Towers, don't you? Correct. So he's also conspicuous by his absence. Yes, of course, ghetto defendant. And as Tom Harney's once said, as a wrong-un philosopher once said, what you've got to ask is, where does the marzipan end and the cake begin? Nom, 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 nom. Shane Hall, hello, Adrian. Do you think the stalker will end up back in prison? Yes. Basil? I went to this dining thing where it had these characters. Obviously, Manuel was Manuel, but didn't quite look like Manuel, but it didn't quite sound like Manuel, but it was definitely Manuel. And Basil was very tall, very thin, very mustachioed. Kind of looked like him. The food was good. It was 1970, so it was a prawn cocktail. I think it was beef Wellington or something. And then I can't remember what the dessert was, but it was all kind of 1970s fare. But 50 years. Laird Wookfit says, my money is on 2 weeks. He will start posting again. This is just like the YouTube strike that wasn't a strike when he sodded off on holiday to Spain. Evening, Karina Jane and Kaz987. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. I just think it's simply... Do you know there was only 12 episodes? There was 2 series of 6 episodes each of Fawlty Towers. And look at the impact it had on us. Not that we followed them, but just it was beautifully written. Beautifully written. Connie Booth and John Cleese. Beautifully written. And it kind of encapsulated, don't mention the war, it encapsulated our humour in the 70s. And even now we hark back to happier, simpler times, because humour is really aggressive now. But I don't know whether you would lump Only Fools and Horses in with this. But 50 years ago, 1975, September the 19th, it all started. And what a beauty that was. I mean, for me, not that it was... I don't think it was in Fawlty Towers, but Basil was out driving a car. The car stalled or something, and he got out and thrashed it with a twig. Beautiful. I mean, just... That's how we feel about cars that don't work properly. And it's just a beautiful insight into who we are as a nation. I love it. I love it. In fact, I would say... oh, well, Only Fools and Horses might equal number 1. By the way, this is the year also, the 50th anniversary of the Queen song, Bohemian Rhapsody, which came out in 1975. Blimey, David. I want a Waldorf salad, says Adam Bell. What do you expect to see out of a Torquay hotel bedroom window? Brilliant, Stephen. Brilliant. And I went to see the show in the West End. And they used that line. They've taken 3 episodes and put it into one sort of West End show. And it's fabulous. It is fabulous. You genuinely belly laugh. And he does the walk. Don't mention the war. All that in there. It's just... hang on, what's Andrew James just said? Adrian, there's an article in the Mail Online about Janet Percival and the convicted stalker, posted 7 hours ago. Thank you, Paulie. It's so what they've done is they've taken the Sunday Times article and they've rewritten it and just lumped it up on the Daily Mail. I think there's Janet and Liz Green and Jeremy and the convicted stalker all pictured in the Daily Mail, because the Daily Mail is normally on it. Is this a piece of your brain, Des Ashton? Correct. Is that Bohemian Rhapsody? Or are we talking Fawlty Towers? Bohemian Rhapsody wouldn't have got airtime if not for Kenny Everett. Yeah, Kenny played it and played it and played it and played it on Capitol. Matthew Whedon said the best they ever did was 12 episodes. Most series, if they do more than 3, then you end up repeating the same old ideas. Not this. I mean, 50-year-old, and it still has a beauty to its eloquence, if I may be so bold. For me. Yes, Stuart, the Nottingham Post are on it as well. Alan Wellsmith says, that's a good idea. What other sitcoms or shows could be converted to the stage? We've had Mamma Mia, Only Fools and Horses, Fawlty Towers. I can't remember any others. Right, okay, Rich. The thrashing of the car comes from the film Clockwise, also starring John Cleese. Well, for me, that was Basil doing it. I know it's a film. Young Ones was only 12 episodes. Was it really, Andrew James? Was that not a couple of series? Bohemian Rhapsody is one of those tunes where the title of the song is not mentioned in the lyrics. Oh, very clever. Can I cancel my fruit salad? I'm sorry, sir. Chef's just opened the tin. Brilliant, Adam. Yeah, brilliant. They used that one in the stage show as well. I come from Barcelona. I know nothing. And little Manuel in this dining experience. I mean, obviously he's there in the stage show, but in this dining experience, which was funny. Hang on a second. I see you. I was 16 then. Biggest worry was buying a pair of tights out of my first wage packet. Oh, I see you. What-o? Stuart says, Love Only Fools. Used to watch that with my grandparents as a kid. So many fond memories. They haven't done a Dad's Army. Have they done a Dad's Army on the stage? Porridge. Ronnie Barker, very clever writing, says Andy Turner. Agreed. Two gets in a car. Rumour has it Cleese is putting 3 more episodes into stage form. Nice. I mean, I think they've extended the run into 2026 because it's so popular. When I went there, it was fully sold out. It makes you feel warm for bygone times, in my view, if I'm allowed to. And we used to watch TV as a family, but they've broken the family unit down. The nuclear family, parents and 2 children. No, they've done that. Loved Sorry with Ronnie Corbett, says Rusty Roamings. That would make a good one. They did Dad's Army radio plays of the lost episodes. Oh, Andrew James. Part of the Dad's Army film remake was shot in the street where I live, says Les Griffiths. The Good Life was brilliant and very genteel. I think a lot of the humour from the 70s. I was having this conversation with a dear friend of mine, Simon Cartwright, who, if you haven't seen him yet, he's in. He won't see this because he's on holiday at the minute. But he plays Bob Monkhouse in the is it The Last Laugh, the stage show, and I'm hoping to get him on a live or to do an interview with him to talk about Bob Monkhouse and the material and stage and theatre, darling. So we'll do all that with Simon, and Simon and I agree that back in the 70s, I mean, you had the goodies, goody yum yum, and you did have Monty Python, and you had the avant-garde, but most mainstream comedy episodes were genteel. Oh, the Likely Lads. Oh, yes, absolutely. Last of the Summer Wine was my go-to, says James Saville. I live across the street from Mr. Mannering's bank. Lovely, Les. Cleese filmed Clockwise in Hull in 1985. At the same time, the BBC were filming Only Fools and Horses to Hull and back. Oh, yeah, because didn't they go across to Holland on a ferry at one point, Only Fools and Horses. Was that the episode? Icke Thump. Oh, yeah. Rich, that was a great song as well. Of the time, Open All Hours was put into a stage show. I think, Andy Turner, I stand to be corrected, I think that they're doing an anniversary edition of Open All Hours. Oh, God, there's loads here. Dad's Army, Steptoe would definitely work on the stage. Yes. Rising Damp, Paul Morton would also work on the stage. Band the BBC says Rising Damp was always a good laugh. Amalia, no, I'm with you. I haven't got my fan on, so to speak. It's just the way I'm sitting. Just me who feels I should be putting some heating on for 5 minutes. Thought it was meant to be summer. I did think about putting a jumper on for this because it is cold enough, so I agree with you, Amalia. Some mothers do have them, but what? You know what would happen with some mothers do have them, Paulie? You'd get health and safety in saying, you can't do that, you can't do that. No, you could break a bone. Andrew James says, Stuart, Google the complete... God, there's so many... I think it was Google the complete Rising Damp or something. Not sure. Dominic Beresford says the last great sitcom was Early Doors by Craig Cash. Of course, I know Craig. in the early 2000s. It was sublime. By the way, excellent interview with David Icke, Rev. Thank you. Not a problem, Dominic. Craig Cash used to work on Key 103 when I was at Rock FM. So we were always bumping into each other. Very quiet, as most talented individuals are. Right, I think we've done the parish notes. Ever decreasing circles, another good one. Mike's Alligators. Oh, bless this house, Beata. Was it Doctor in the house? Bless this house had Sid James in it, didn't he? Sid James and Sally. She was the daughter or something. Phil Levan, Bottom, the young ones, Filthy, Rick and the Cat Flap. Yes, but they toured that, didn't they? Oh, brush strokes. Butterflies was a bit too soft for me. It didn't have. Butterflies was just, your BBC usual fodder. Phil Sumner. So yeah, Sally Gleason. Thank you, Rusty's Romix. And who did Wendy? Who did Butterflies? Sally James. Thank you, Dave Johnson. Amalia, I refused to put the central heating on until about October 10, but I have a little electric radiator in my room. Tempted for 5 minutes. Had to put heating on in the car today. What, the actual? Amalia, I only ever put my heating on last couple of weeks in January. Everybody else put 3 jumpers on. I'm a tight-ass northerner. What do you expect? I lived in Scotland, and I moved into this new house, and I couldn't work out the central heating. So for months and months and months, I couldn't work out how to turn the bloody thing down. It was costing me a fortune. So I thought, oh, stuff this, switch it off. And I only put it on for 2 weeks at the end of January when there's snow on the ground. Other than that, stick a jumper on. Wendy Richards, thank you, the Bovril. Yeah, you're all into that. You're enjoying that. And we might do something around 50 years of Faulty Towers and 50 years of Bohemian Rhapsody. Anyway, tonight in the Simon, have we got plenty of people in the body of the Kirk? Oh, yes, we have. So welcome everyone to the body of the Kirk. And tonight in the Simon, we're going to talk about the Unite the Kingdom rally, because the mainstream media has been at it, proper at it. We're going to talk about the Royals, well, Harry the Spin Machine, because it's all going to kick off this week. The Epstein Files latest. Have you? Well, Starmer, off you go, bunny lad. Fill your cases, had away and shite. We've had enough of you. You're toxic. Go. Also, I had a thought while I was in the shower. Make your own filthy gags up your wrong. The One World Order. I'm trying to work out just... Ooh, Nicholas says, not sure if you're aware, the red, white, green and black lot have spoiled the final stage of the Grand Tour cycle race, Tour of Spain. Oh, man. Well, that kind of feeds into what I was going to say about the One World Order. I've given you the baby steps up until UN 2030, the WHO, that's the World Health Organization 2030, the WEF 2030. But how are we going to get to the One World Order? Is it going to be communism? Or is it going to be Christianity? It won't be the bloody Pope, that's for certain. He's the last one, unless the little green men appear in November on 3i Atlas. And it's not little green men, aliens, and alien craft. It's just, the elite winding us up. Not that I've, been out on my spacecraft and been out there and gone, right, no, this is just shite, and then come back so I can give you this report. No, but I will say 3i Atlas... they're just using it. They're saying it's 7 miles wide. It'll break up before it gets here. We'll talk about the David Icke video very quickly. We'll talk about Charlie Kirk, of course, and I've got some information for you that is not anywhere else, as I normally do from my research. Downton Abbey, the film starts, is it this weekend or next weekend? This weekend. We'll talk about Ricky Hatton and what happened today, and if Amir Khan is okay with this. I want to use... Amir Khan posted something that was so eloquent, unusually for Amir. It was so eloquent on social media. I felt it was the correct full stop at the end of a kind of tribute to Ricky Hatton. Starmer's cooked, as we all know. Beckham watch! Yeah, Beckham. We'll do the Strictly PR juggernaut and Slow Horses. If you're a fan of Slow Horses, it's back September 24th. I have to tell you, we have a bit of a situation. Sister Mary and her big dog Dick, she sidles up to me with the growler and says, Rev, I've got 3 Austrian nuns at the door. I said, at the body of the Kirk, the door. Body of the Kirk, door. She went, yes. She says, they all sound like Klaus Schwab. And she said, they've fled their retirement home. I said, right. So what are they knocking on the door here for? Well, they just want to be part of the body of the Kirk. They're all in their late 80s, and the retirement home just wasn't for them. And they'd heard that this is a broad Kirk, the body of the Kirk, so they're happy to dole out altar wine and Battenberg and anything that the parishioners need, Reverend. But they feel that this will be a better place for 3 Austrian nuns. So I've kind of, empathy, compassion. So I've said yes. So just be aware that there might be 3 Austrian nuns walking around. I've checked. They don't look like Klaus Schwab, but they sound like him, and Arnie Schwarzenegger. So be gentle, be kind to them. They'll give you free altar wine and Battenberg and a Piles cushion if you need one, because, the Starmers are pretty hard on your derriere. So I've heard from the Fun Boy 3. Kerry Hawkins says, I met Rick Hatton quite a bit due to my husband being a former professional boxer. He was a sensitive, kind person, always wanting to help and give back. God bless him. Tell you what, let's get to, I think it's only right, we'll get to the United Kingdom rally in a moment. Let's get to Ricky, because it was, I don't know about you, but it was quite shocking. The news this afternoon, it just was a shock, because sometimes he was only 46, which, if I may be so bold, is no age, 46-year-old. But for Ricky, a professional athlete, a professional boxer, fitter than any other human being on the planet, possibly. The Greater Manchester Police, GMP for short, said that it wasn't a suspicious death and a body was found at his home. That's kind of police speak for suicide. And he had a fight organised for December, so he was going to go into camp, I'm sure, soon. I know that Ricky had tried to take his own life after the Floyd Mayweather fight in 2007. And seemingly there was I saw a picture earlier of somebody saying that he was out on the town last night and somebody had a selfie taken with him. But I would say this. I know that physically we've never met, but you are regular into the body of the Kirk. But always, 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 please reach out. Always. I don't care. Day or night, reach out. There are professional organisations. There are charities that can help you. I work with a charity called Mankind Project, which is wonderful. I can tell you, they're wonderful. And you can do work with Mankind Project, and what they will do is they will help you and support you face your trauma, whatever it is, whatever hue or whatever it is. And I just wish that Ricky had someone. I know he'd had his troubles with his parents, and he'd made up with them recently, but always reach out. I think we're getting to a place in 2025 where men understand the pressures on us, and women for that matter, because there are organisations solely for women. I used to know of one, Women in Power, and there is another one where it's run by women, and it's a safe space. It's a space to talk. It's a space to face yourself if you wish, because they give you tools. Same as Mankind Project. It's talking in a safe place, and it's for men. It's for people like me and you who get to a certain time and think, what is this all about? Who am I? You know, not holding a mirror up to yourself, but getting a greater understanding of yourself. Now, Ricky had it all. He was a world champion. He was a great boxer. He was an incredible athlete, and he was funny. But they always say about the clowns, they do all their crying in private, and a bit like Robin Williams. When Robin Williams committed suicide, nobody knew. They just and again, Robin Williams had his demons, as did Ricky. Ricky was, and I would say, if I can, that recreational gear is just, it does you no good, which is why I'm zero tolerance. And it's only a guess, and I am assuming this, but Ricky had a bit of a time with recreational gear, and I don't think that would have helped him. It didn't help Robin Williams, I'm sure, but I just Les Griffith says sometimes just listening to someone and a hug is a big boost. Just sometimes women being in the company of women, because it's that supplication, it's that succor, it's that support you get from someone who understands, and men understand men. It's not tree hug and hippie shite. It's not, anything else. It just Wearside Women in Need. Bridget Phillipson used to work there. Yes, well, more of that will come out, young Wookfit. But there are places for men to talk in a safe space. And look, men go through roughly the same stuff, whether it's marriages or relationships or jobs, pressures, or money, financial, or kids, and kids getting into stuff, and homes not safe. The Mankind Project, and you can just Google them. They've got websites. You can just Google them. You can Google the women's groups, and it's one of those places that I didn't know about. I didn't. I just thought you can go to those places where you pick up the phone and talk to them. Yes, there are those. Rusty's Roaming says weed wrecks your head. People think it's harmless, but it's not. Agreed. Amalia said, did he have a wife and children? Yes, he had children. I don't think he was married. He was with the former Brookside actress and now Corrie actress. They'd had a relationship after they did Dancing on Ice, and that broke down last December. So I think it's loneliness that gets a lot of people, not just men, women too, because the way that life is in 2025, it's a stony path that we walk. It's a real struggle sometimes, and we're getting all of this advice kind of barked at us. You've got to do this, and TikTok or Insta or YouTube, people going, do this, do this, do this, or if you're going through a divorce, do this, if your relationship's broken up, do this. And it's removed. It's not a human. It's just like in the movies, Total Recall, where he goes home and it's all on the telly, and he tells the house to turn the lights down, or the taxi was humanless. Claire Sweeney, thank you, Adam. So Ricky had a relationship probably about 9 months or so, until last December, and Claire was very gracious. She just said, we're still friends. We're friends. We'll always be friends. She was very gracious. But there's always a reason why relationships end. Always, always, always. But I see you is Bob on. Everyone is struggling with life, some more than others. Doesn't make them any less. I think it's a Bob Marley song. Each man feels their burden is the heaviest. And 18 years ago, he tried to take his life after the Floyd Mayweather fight, the loss. Really, really landed badly with him. Paul Morton said, my best mate's brother has been on weed for 30 years, now has constant shakes, no muscle, can't think straight, makes obnoxious outbursts and problems with digestion and lungs. Screw that for a buzz. I'm with you, Paul. I've got zero tolerance. People can do whatever they want. I'm not a judge. I'm a reverend. And people can do whatever they want. If they feel it's right for them, then it's right for them. But for me, I know the dangers. I've had dear friends decide that this life wasn't for them, and their recreational gear usage brought about their situation. Interestingly, Dave Johnston says, "It was why I gave up alcohol. I can face the difficulties, especially in these scary times. But the alcohol, which is not seen as a recreational drug, it's acceptable because it's alcohol. But it alters your reality. I mean, I don't know whether it brings out your personality. Some people need a little buzz, and it makes them relax more, and they become more bon vivant. They can interact with other human beings on a slightly more enhanced level. But if you need that to bring you out, because the right people will appear on your radar when you're in the right place. It's the old, I would suggest, the martial arts adage, the teacher appears when the pupil is ready. And it goes for any stage of life. Kerry Hawkins says something beautiful. Ricky should be remembered for being an amazing boxer and for his achievements, not for anything else. Well, I am going to sort of round this. It's not an homage, it's just a reflection on the shock or maybe the sadness, but also who Ricky Hatton was. And I will take a few more comments, and then I said it was Amir Khan. I'm not a fan of Amir Khan, but what he said on social media was eloquent, and I thought it was beautifully put and encapsulated, I'm sure, how everybody feels about Ricky Hatton and not just his weaknesses. Louise Hampson says, I've never touched drugs. I only take prescription meds. Stuart says, right place, right time, of course. And Wookfit, exactly. And given we don't know cause of death, this is unnecessary. Well, of course we don't. I think it may have been his son or one of the family that found him. What will happen, the process is, if there's an unexpected death, other than one with a suicide note, if it's unexpected, it goes to the coroner, and the coroner determines mode and appropriate death. So GMP have said it's not suspicious. So that tells me police have gone on scene, gone in, found the body, and they know it's suicide because the police wouldn't have said anything else. It's not suspicious. That tells me they know. Blimey, Albert, you should go and drink with me, Dad. Albert Medcalf says I was a 15 pint a night man. In the days, Albert, when that's why the kids are getting off their heads. Back in the day, you could go out and have that many pints a night because it was only 2.4% alcohol in a pint. Now you're getting 4, 5, 6% in a can. I mean, yes, I've told you the stories about going to Porterhouse Blue in Dublin and having a 14% pint. That's like a bottle of wine in a pint. But now the kids are drinking alcohol with all kinds of strengths. And they're now doing, because they're just wanting to get out of themselves. They don't like who they are. They don't know how to find themselves, and they don't know how to deal with themselves, and they don't know how to deal with reality. Because I would suggest, and I'm sure you'll shoot me down, since sort of the 60s and 70s, when there was a lot of recreational gear coming into the market. I mean, where I'm from, Sunderland, I remember being very young, a very young teenager, and I always used to see like sand shoes, we'd call them trainers now, wrapped around telephone wires that were strung across the streets. And I used to say, why do they do that? Why do they chuck Because that was an indicator that you could buy H, brown, horse. You know what H is for, don't you? Can't say it on here, bizarrely. I can use the word drugs, but I'm not going to use the H word. But that was an indicator for anybody that wanted to buy it that it was on sale locally. The sand shoe. Thank you, Kevin. Dodgy corner shops sell the stronger beers and lagers. I know, Andrew. And it's finding the body of a loved one is hard. Neil says, I found my daughter. Oh, I'm so sorry, Neil. I found my daughter's body when she died suddenly. That stays with you for life. I can't even imagine, Neil. And I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope time is some healer for you. And I'm hoping that you're able to remember happier times. That's I'm so sorry, Neil. So sorry to hear that. I will say that my mum, she passed away in 2018, and for a grown man, there was. I just thought if I ever came across someone that wasn't here with us anymore, I don't know how I would react. And yet there was a comfort. When my mum passed away, I was there near the end, and was able to tell her what I wanted to tell her. Love, pride. But when she went, I found it quite comforting to just sit with her. The body, she wasn't there, her soul wasn't there. I found it quite comforting. But when, in Neil's case, or the shock of Ricky's family today, it is a shock. So let me, I'll allow everyone in the chat to speak to Neil and of Neil. I won't add. Kevin Banks, you won't be thanking me when I put your heart on the scales. Kevin, you won't. You won't be putting my heart or my soul on any scales, because I've already done the work, Bonnie lad. I know how many times I've been back. I know how many past lives I've had. I've done the work. And when I leave this earthly plane, I absolutely will not be coming back. I wasn't meant to be here this time, but I won't be coming back. So, Kevin, you enjoy Thoth and everything, and the great emerald tablet and everything that he brings, because I understand what you're saying. And Kevin, be respectful. There's somebody in the body of the Kirk that's being very honest and open with us. So be respectful. So as I say, I'll put a full stop at the end of this reflection on Ricky. And as I say, it's from Amir Khan. I'm not a fan, but I thought his words were had a lot of depth and meaning. And it is thus. Today, we lost not only one of Britain's greatest boxers, but a friend, a mentor, a warrior, Ricky Hatton. As fighters, we tell ourselves we're strong. We train, we sweat, we take hits, we get up. But sometimes the hardest fight happens in silence, in the mind. Mental health isn't weakness. It's part of being human. And we must talk about it. We must reach out. We must lean into and on each other. Ricky, thank you for everything, for your fights, your moments of glory, your grit. Thank you for pushing us, showing us what's possible. And to everyone hearing this, if you're hurting or struggling, you're not alone. Talk. Please reach out, because we need more light in this life, more compassion, more understanding. And I think that's a fitting way to reflect on the sad passing today of Ricky Hatton. Kerry Hawkins, I agree. He was a pure fighter. He had the heart of a lion. And I believe his beloved Man City, 3-0 against Manchester United. He'll be clapping and dancing wherever he's gone on to. So thank you to everyone for your kind comments to Neil. And Ricky was a true Brit. That's all we need to say. Yeah, exactly. I do, Kevin. I do. But be respectful. I don't know whether to go to. Let's go to Charlie Kirk, because not to weigh everything down this evening, because we will get to lighter subjects, but there's again the video was all over social media. I was live on Wednesday night, and my only regret was that it wasn't a phone in, because that's the time that you need to be doing a phone in about a subject, an evolving and breaking subject. And when I stopped the live, he was seemingly still alive and had a pulse, and we were the news was just breaking. But as I said on Wednesday, it's always the golden hour. It's always the golden hour. 60 minutes. If anything happens, you're most likely to get some kind of truth in the first 60 minutes. After that, it's controlled. The media is controlled, the news is controlled, and you won't get any truth. So that happened with Charlie. Initially, we were getting he's still alive, he's been shot in the neck. We were getting all of that. But subsequently, over the last 4 or 5 days, the story has just grown exponentially. It's just grown and grown. You've got Trump saying he wants the death penalty. They have a suspect that's been arrested. No charges yet. They're talking about the trans agenda. So the shooter that the American government are saying is the shooter was in a relationship with someone who was going through transition. So it's yeah. I know that you're all commenting on it, but I'll do this and then I'll get to your comments, because there's some information coming out. There was writing on the bullets, seemingly. The rifle was wrapped up in a towel in woodland. What? I mean, this is almost like they'll be telling me that a lone gunman shot JFK in the 60s. It's too perfect. The video of somebody on a roof and then running away. Then they release photographs. Now, I'm not going down a conspiracy route, because I am going to give you some information that you have not received anywhere in any kind of media. But I'm hearing from certain quarters, and the source is obviously impeccable, that the FBI had tips that something was going to happen at Utah University. Weeks before it happened, dozens of tips, seemingly, but no checks were done. And there was no informing of the tipping point security. Now, the scrutiny on what happened on Wednesday is that, there's people tugging their hats and saying this, and it's military for fire now, and everything's clear. I will tell you this. That is absolute rollicks. Why? Because if there was a shooter 200 yards away on a roof, do you think that people would be standing anywhere near Charlie Kirk? Because a bullet would pass through a human being and then hit whomever was standing on the other side of him, because there was a whole load of security and the public. They were all on the other side of him as he was sitting talking to the person that was asking the question. So this kind of, it's all rollicks. They'd be putting themselves in danger from somebody who, they're saying that it wasn't a professional. I'm sorry. I don't believe that in a month of Sundays. Because not necessarily the shot. There's over 400 million firearms in America. 400 million plus. And there's only, 350 million Americans? So even the kids, the bands, are wandering around with guns. I'm being facetious, obviously. But I don't think the shot was meant for his neck. Some people are saying that he was wearing a metal plate, or he's wearing some kind of vest under his t-shirt, and it must have bounced up. But some people are now saying he was shot from the other side of him. I think the first 60 minutes we may have got some kind of truth. At 200 meters, doesn't need to be a professional, just a good shot, decent weapon and sight. The reason why I believe that it was a professional was access and egress, e-fill, if you want to use the military term. This guy managed to get into the university and into position without anybody seeing him, without anybody noticing. If you look at the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, there were people saying, there's a guy on the roof, there's a guy on the roof. And all the security there, they just let it until the shot was finished, and then they shot him dead. So there would have been people, especially the youth, going, there's a guy on the roof, there's a guy on the roof, and especially after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. People are hyper-vigilant in those kind of situations, especially in America. So my belief is either he was a professional or he had professional help. So he got in and got out without anybody stopping him, seeing him, noticing him. Nothing. And it was only because his father, who I think is law enforcement in America, spoke to his pastor and said, I think it's my son. He's been acting really weirdly lately. He said he was going, and his dad dobbed him in. Now, can you imagine that kind of moral dilemma? Your son, 22-year-old, he's confessed. So what do you do? I would have done exactly the same thing as the dad. We have to teach the youth that they are responsible for their own actions, and they are also accountable. And it's only when we get to that point can we live in a well-organized society. I mean, it's dangerous in America. MK Ultra says, I see you. Yeah. Alan says, our own Charlie Veach has had death threats and taken bodyguards with him now. Interesting. Kerry Hawkins handed him in. So it's not the FBI were aware of tips. They didn't, I mean, they probably had loads of tips around Charlie. And I'm sure there were continual alerts around Charlie and his attendants. But I'm going to give you some, in just a little while, in a minute or two, I'm going to give you some stats around Tipping Point, who they are and what they do and where they are. But my cynical old tart always pops up and goes, not sure about this. And then when I look at the stuff that's online, on social media, I kind of go, nah, that's Rolex. So, but I will say, what this has created is power, strength, but more importantly, unity in America. I'm going to ask you a question. Stuart says, my dad would have done the same thing if that was me. Amalia says, in any event, they were going for a kill that they got with one shot and they avoided the body vest. Correct. So either, see, I don't believe the death of JFK, President of the United States, in Dallas for 60 years. We were told, lone gunman, oh, sorry, he's dead. Somebody shot him when he was being brought out of Dallas police station. Dead men can't speak. So you've got a situation where somebody's shot and the narrative is, oh, he's a trans activist. We'll talk about the one world order, because I think this is the beginning of, baby steps of, getting to that beyond 2030. It's convoluted, yes, but so the question I wanted to ask, Soul Rebel, side of his neck, by the look of it, terrible damage. Oh, he just bled out. He just bled out. Nicholas says, Ricky Hatton joked that darts is more violent than boxing. He told of an incident in a pub playing with Phil Taylor. The bell for last orders rang. He chinned four lads. Brilliant. Oh, yeah, especially in the pub, especially in the northeast, Nicholas, as you know. So the question I'm going to ask you is, there's been this movement. As I said, what this has created is power, strength, unity. Now, there's been a lot of weird people either celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk or happy what had happened to him. I mean, we've got the Oxford Debating Society, some head honcho of the Oxford Debating Society is like celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. No, that's unacceptable on every single level. So Oxford Uni needs to do something about this. And in America, there's all these people that are kind of posting on social media. So I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think about people losing their jobs for celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk? Should they lose their jobs? Or are we overreacting? People should be allowed to have free speech within social media. Yes, Kirk criticised Israel. Going to get to that, Stephen. I'm layers first. Kerry Hawkins, 1. Yeah, we'll do 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Adrian Core. Do you think that it's right that people are losing their jobs for celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Now, I know how you normally vote. There's always, thank you to everyone that's interesting. Napoleon Blown Apart says, feck that kind of free speech. And absolutely everyone. There's always 1 or 2 that say, no, I'm not with that. I'm not with that. But everybody is saying yes. If you can be cancelled for using wrong pronouns, mocking a death is a no-brainer. Everybody says yes. Free speech is not calling for someone's death. 2. We would be in jail for hate speech like that. You're right, Talker 69. Blimey. Lucy got 31 months. So, thank you, Paulie Galtieri. Terry Wookford, quite rightly, is saying that mocking a death is not calling for a death. I see you says the human race is horrible. And Charlie Veach's bodyguard was something else, the way he handled that young man. Oh, yeah, I saw him give him a slap. It's only a slap. But you can defend I think in law in this country, you can defend yourself appropriately. You just can't go overboard about it. So if you defend yourself and retreat, you're fine. If you defend yourself and then knock somebody down, leave them unconscious, that may be a bit too far. When politicians, teachers and healthcare workers mock Charlie, we are in deep trouble. Agreed, Les. The kid at the debating society shouldn't even be there as he didn't get high enough grades. He's only there due to DEI targets. Thank you, Rusty's Roamings. Feral people, Vix text. I agree. It's just the nastiness. But we'll get to, thank you to everyone, GB Patriot evening. How did the shooter get off the roof without a rifle and it was found in the woods? Whole thing stinks. I'm with you. I am with you. Because you can see on the videos, he fired the shot and then he dismantled the rifle. It was a Mauser, so it wasn't great, but he managed to dismantle it, put it in his backpack, and then jump off the roof, and then run to the woods, and then assemble the rifle again, wrapped it up in a towel, and then ran home. Nah. Even Stephen, let people speak freely, then we can see who they're. Great point. Even Stephen says, let people speak freely, then we can see exactly who they are. The judge who released Irania's killer isn't even legally trained. No way, Les. Tone Dial says, that type of rifle cannot be dismantled on a roof. It needs special tools. Is that right, Tone Dial? So the narrative that he dismantled the rifle after shooting, put it in his backpack, then got off the roof and went to the woods, reassembled it, and hid it. Picture of the rifle was taken with torchlights on it on a sunny day. On it at 5 p.m. on a sunny day. I know, Kaz, it's something isn't right. It just feels like the JFK shooting. I've always known it wasn't bloody what's-his-face from the book depository. He loosed a couple of shots off. No, don't be silly. He couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo from that height and that distance. It was from the drains in front of the car. That's why the car stopped. Stopped just in time to go bang, bang. There you go. From the front. Blew the front of his head off. Not from behind the book depository. So we know that I think that America is much more sophisticated and wise now. But if you look at these people that have just been celebrating, I would suggest that these people, can I call them woke? If that's not too disrespectful. They have been living in a kind of bubble of reality. So they're coming out on social media and just saying what they're saying because that's what they think everyone else has thought. So they think in their little bubble of reality that everybody thinks exactly the same way as them. Now, I wanted to share a report from Tipping Point USA. Since Wednesday, so we're only talking 4 days, the organisation has received over 32,000 inquiries in 48 hours after the shooting to start new campus chapters. To put that into perspective, Tipping Point USA currently has 900 official college chapters. 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters, with a presence on 3,500 in total. Now, Charlie's vision was to have a Club America chapter, that's their high school brand, in every high school in America. That's 23,000 schools in America. They're saying within the Tipping Point USA, because there are Tipping Point Great Britain here, and they're saying that Tipping Point, Charlie's vision will come to fruition much, much faster than he could ever have possibly imagined, which, in my view, is truly truly incredible. 32,000 inquiries in 48 hours. And they're going to motor their way to what Charlie wanted, which is 23,000, the high school brand Club Americas in every high school in America. I'm sure you've seen Erica, his wife, who delivered. I mean, I've no idea what kind of fortitude Erica enabled her to be able to do that. But again, cynical old tart comes up. My radar goes. So Erica Kirk, releases a video of her weeping over Charlie's open coffin. Now, look, I get it that grief makes people do odd things. And there's no explanation of why. Because grief manifests itself in very different ways in a lot of differing people. But a video of her weeping over Charlie's open coffin? I've seen it with my own eyes. Now, a little while ago, I don't know what you make of it. I'll leave that to you and the comments. I think Alan says there's something really weird about it. I'm not sure he was the shooter. Kevin, I would love to have a chat with you because your knowledge is very deep and very complex. And sticking them in comments is I have been to Egypt. I have been to the pyramids, the Great Pyramid. I've been inside the King's Chamber. I've been to Cairo. I've been to the Cairo Museum. So I understand what you're saying, but it needs a conversation. So Erica released a video, and a couple of weeks ago, Charlie Kirk was actually saying to some of those close to him that he refused Bibi Netanyahu's funding offer and, I'm quoting, was frightened by pro-Israel forces before his death. Some of his friends are now coming out about this. Now, a Trump insider and longtime friend of Charlie has told a magazine how Charlie, his turning point on Israel's influence provoked a private backlash from Netanyahu's allies that left Charlie angry and afraid. This source has said that anxiety started to spread within the Trump administration after an apparent Israeli spying operation was uncovered. Mossad and CIA, bedfellows. Maybe they may as well be one and the same. So Charlie rejected an offer earlier this year from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Dewismietz, to arrange a massive new infusion of Zionist money into his Turning Point USA organization. Now, this source that's very close to the organization believed that Charlie believed that Netanyahu was trying to cow Charlie into silence as he began to publicly question Israel's overwhelming influence in Washington and demanded more space to criticize it. Free speech. It's different in America than here. You get jailed here. But Charlie Kirk had become the target of a sustained private campaign of intimidation and free-floating fury by wealthy and powerful allies of Netanyahu. Figures Charlie described in an interview as Jewish leaders and stakeholders. He was afraid of them. This source has emphasized. So whether we will know, initially people were saying it was connected to Israel. People were saying it was a professional hit. So I'm not daft all day long, but one of my initial questions on Wednesday was, so who ordered the hit? Because this seems to be terribly convenient that somebody's being taken out that wasn't doing as he was told and wasn't cowed by an influx of money. He couldn't be bought off. Who ordered the hit? Because somebody did. And as I say, the access and egress or exfil, that was too good, clever and perfect. And it was only because a dad dobbed his son in, and his son was bragging about it, seemingly. Vixtech says it was way too convenient. I completely agree. Someone put the finger on him. Could be anyone. I know, I see you. They'll be able to cover this up really easily. So if they've got someone and they charge someone and it goes through court, it'll be rushed through court. So will the death sentence. It smacks of things that I don't trust. And a lot of things that I've been witness to during my life, there's a lot of military stuff that goes on. It was too perfect. There was a song on SoundCloud about it not so long ago. And there was the book on that. So that happened on the 10th. On the 9th of September, there was a book available on Amazon, albeit electronica and on the Kindle, but it was the shooting of Charlie Kirk. So did somebody press the button by mistake? Have they got a psychic writing books now? How does that work? And the thing is, when you look at whether it's 9/11 or whether it's the assassination of an American president and his brother and Martin Luther King, they used, was it Sirhan? Somebody said he was an MK Ultra. He shot Bobby Kennedy. And then you've got, wow, Rusty's roamings. The song was called Charlie Kirk Died at 31. So, angelic inspirations. If the kid is a patsy, his life will be utter hell in jail. I don't think he'll make it that far. Angelic inspirations. I think they'll bring the death penalty in. Dead men can't speak. So I don't know about you, but it just doesn't sit. There's too many variances, and I know people have had a look at Charlie's wedding ring, moving from that finger to his pinky finger, and they're saying, how can that happen? I've no idea. It just doesn't fit. So 9/11, that narrative didn't fit. The assassination of JFK didn't fit. It suited certain people, but it just doesn't sit right with me, and I'm monitoring it. But this piece about Charlie having been offered this money and he rejected it. See, what I don't understand is Israel is very right wing. The Zionists are even further right. And Charlie was he was promoting values and principles and biblical study and, the Christian society, because that's basically what we are in this country. We get all of our boundaries from the Ten Commandments, from the good book, whether it's the Torah or whether it's the New Testament. And it's Napoleon Bonaparte says it doesn't fit completely, and there's certain unease in the air. Just my opinion. Oh, I agree with you. N says could be a lone wolf psycho. That's how they're going to portray it. It's always a lone wolf. It's always a single gunman that does these things. And like this assassination attempt with Donald Trump, that boy's not around anymore. He took a bullet, dead. So how do we know anything? We don't. And then they cleaned the rooftop down straight after. That's a crime scene. And they sanitized it. So there is a crime scene on the roof. There's a crime scene in the university. And what are they doing about it? Oh, we've got him now. We don't need that. Surely they need evidence, corroborative evidence, to say he was on the roof and that was him. What's he going to do? MK Ultra. Oh, it was me. Sirhan. I saw people stealing from his stall. Rotten, says Soul Rebel. Me too. They were nicking his baseball caps, weren't they? And then just flinging them out. And it was only when the FBI came in and said, oi, 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 wrong un. Out of here. AI is notoriously bad at copying hands and feet. Just saying. Angelic inspirations. So why? Are we watching a circus? Are we watching a movie? I mean, I'm going to get to Starmer and Mandy. Oh, Mandy! We're going to get to him and her and them in just a second. Alan says they said they got a forearm print of the shooter. So if he's lying prone, he would have one forearm. But I know that crime scene, because I've spoken to a scenes of crime officer, SOCO for short. I've spoken to them, and if you can get the bottom of a plimsoll, a sneaker, or a trainer, they can identify the person. They can get loads of information from that. So if somebody's, and I don't wish this on you, but anybody, Amanda Sky says definitely a movie, because people, I would suggest, I'll get back to the SOCO in a second. I would suggest that after lockdown, after what we went through as a collective, we don't trust anything we're being told now. I don't. People in the body of the Kirk. So Psycho gets on a roof, takes a shot, recoil, not aiming, but gets lucky. Hang on a second. N says, Psycho gets on a roof, takes shot, recoil, not aiming correctly for conditions, but gets lucky as bullet hits neck. I know. GB Patriot, I wonder if Mandy had dirt on Starmer or they used to be... could be, GB Patriot. We have no idea what goes on in the halls of Parliament. As I've said many times before, and I won't go any further than this, I wonder what the elite have got on Starmer that makes him do as he's told every single time. I wonder. So we just need to monitor this, because I don't believe it. But some of it seems so plausible. Erica Kirk making the speech. I mean, if you've ever lost a loved one, that grief within 48 hours. I mean, if I lost someone close to me, I've lost my mum and dad, but, wife or my sister, both of whom I love dearly, I would need more than a few weeks. I wouldn't have the constitution to stand up and do that. So she's a better woman than me. I don't know how she did it. But I just don't believe the full narrative. And as someone said, hands and feet, AI's not very good at it. But how do we... The 3,000 in the crowd, so they reckon, they all saw that. So how would they see that, believe that, and then it's just... it is awfully convenient that it went straight onto social media. Everybody saw it. There were people in the live on Wednesday saying, "Oh, it's not great. It's horrible. It's horrible to watch." I have quite a strong constitution to be able to view things. So I had a look at it and I agreed. It was horrible. It was terrible to watch. But there's 3,000 witnesses there, right in front of him, feet from him, that could see him. So I don't know. He was bundled into the back of the car. I mean, just from the blood loss alone, I think he was dead when the bullet hit him. It was instant. So it's something that I'm sure will be reported. Only thing I can't watch is, I'm with you, Dale, is kids getting injured. I can't, look, I'm a grown-ass man. I can't bear little ones screaming or being in pain. I can't. I'm with Dale. I can handle most things. Alan said, from what I saw of Charlie, I liked him a lot. But he was an influence. That's the problem. As I said on Wednesday's live, Charlie literally gave Donald Trump the presidency because he brought the youth with him. And it could have been the youth vote that got him in. So Charlie was very influential. Hang on, what's Terry said? Let me just go back up. Grief is an individual thing. Some people collapse, others soldier on. That's why I said grief is a very odd thing, and it does odd things to people, and no one can legislate for how you're going to react in awful grief. You can't. So I agree with you, Terry. Hang on. Let's get back to the bottom. Amalia says, Arena, tragic, will stay with me forever. Wish I'd never seen the vid. Let me just have a look at what Beatrice said. His concerts are horrible. Last time it was about the identity of Britain and death threats. Enough is enough. It's nothing to do with music or free speech. Okay. I saw the arena video, the full video, but it's the responses to it. Like I told you about 9/11. When 9/11 happened, it was USA, USA, and I was thinking, hang on a second, why are they shouting that? Nobody knows who's done this. Nobody knows who's done this. So why are they shouting USA, USA? So all of a sudden, we're getting murals on homes all over America with portraits of Irina, the Ukrainian girl. I know she was 23 in the full bloom of youth. And I saw him stand. She didn't even know what had happened. The boy stood up behind her, stabbed her in the neck, and she just covered kind of her mouth, I think. And she was looking down, and she couldn't work out what had gone on. Because why would you? Being randomly murdered on public transport. And then she just keeled over. And he was just walking around. And yet, I've told you before, the legal profession in this country and every country around the world is foul. They are literally there to print money. They're not there to do the right thing by the victim. They just like spending other people's monies. That wasn't 3 days after the strike, Terry. Unless you can show me otherwise. It was... I was sure it was on the day because I was watching it in the newsroom at Real Radio. I think he may have gone back, but it was on the day. That's why they weren't going to allow me on air at night, because they were like, "Oh, you and your conspiracies, Adrian." So I'm not going to do anything. We'll just relay the radio stations in New York, because remember, they were 5 hours behind us. So my 10 o'clock when I went on air was 5 o'clock in the afternoon in New York. I see you. Social engineering at its best. The USA chants were the Thursday after the strike when Bush went to the site. Well, it happened on the Tuesday. I'll do my research, Terry. And if as I always say, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it doesn't matter whether it was on the day after, or the day after that. The fact that they didn't know who'd done it, it couldn't have been the Thursday, unless he went back again. I'll do my research, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Ban the BBC. It's very telling that any popular leader or influencer comes along that threatens the status quo, gets a hard time, or they suddenly become unalived. Dale Steele says, Google the Mandela effect. It will blow your mind. I will do. Thank you, Dale. So the point that I was trying to make is, whatever narrative we are being fed by the groove tube, it's not always accurate. They're now saying that, I watched a video the other day where the planes going into the towers, there was no planes. They're saying it was a form of AI, but it was, you can tell by the explosions in the towers that the plane didn't go in, and seemingly there was no plane debris there. Now, I know that a couple of weeks afterwards, there was a few planes in the air, and one of them was shot down, or it lost its engine in New York. Why didn't the engines get blown out of the towers? Couldn't find them. And they're big old wieldy things, and no black boxes. So GB Patriot, misdirection, them planes. David Copperfield, past master at it. So the point I was making around 9/11 was that the arena murals are popping up all over America. That's brainwashing. Why would, of course, the taking of any life is both tragic and unacceptable. but putting murals all over America. And they've already started appearing. So I can't, it's a cynicism within me, heightened by the lockdown that we had from 2020, from March 2020. Oh, it'll just be for 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks tops, just to flatten the curve. 2 years later. Andrew James, remember when the experts in the media said the 9/11 black boxes were destroyed? I know. I laughed. So you can't find them. By the way, at least one thing, Peter Mandelson got the boot by Starmer. Hang on. End of the Prince of Darkness. Yes, David, I'm going to get to that in a second. Amalia says, I think it's a counter to George Floyd. It's like Starmer, Ginger Growler. Why did they take the knee? That's happened in America. Why are they taking the knee? Because they're all taking orders from bloody World Economic Forum, Davos, and the Chinese Communist Party. That's why I asked One World Order, is it going to be communist? Is it going to be a version of communism? Or is it just going to be the very wealthy are going to live a life of opulence and luxury, and we're going to be scratching about for bugs in the dirt? They're not going to let us eat meat and things, unless, of course, the Georgia Guidestones, which said that we need to get the human population down to under 500 million from 8 billion. It's coming. They've already laid it out. This is not chaos. It's planned, man. That's why I keep doing things, so that you can layer upon layer upon layer with what's going on in the world, especially Israel, because Israel has no GDP, no gross domestic product. It is going to have soon gas and oil out of the East Mediterranean, under the Gaza Strip and the Greater Israel. But nobody's talking about it. Everybody's scared to. I'm not. Should we talk about the Unite the Kingdom rally? Because it kind of fits with some of the stuff we're talking about tonight. The thing that I'm laughing about is, do you think the mainstream media have gone, right, hold that shot, 1, 2, 3, oh, you moved, oh, 1, 2, 3, keep the bloody camera still, man, 1, 2, so the numbers are differing. Some prat went on social media, some politician said, oh, it was only 80,000. The general consensus from the media, that's the mainstream media, 110,000. Trevor Phillips this morning on Sky said 150,000. I mean, there's a massive difference between 80,000 and doubling it nearly to 150,000. But I saw the overhead shots. I don't know whether there was 3 million. I don't know whether there was 1 million. But there was a whole lot more than 110,000 or 80,000 or even 150,000, because the mainstream media didn't want us to see it as a success. I mean, even Katie H., she gave a speech. Mind you, she didn't mention that well-known free speech martyr from Nottingham, did she? No. I wonder why. I saw Tommy's speech. I saw Katie's speech. I saw other bits and pieces. I saw some artists. But I would suggest that the video that I saw, it appears to be nearer 1 million than 110,000 mark. And even Elon Musk was there on screen. Now that's, every time he appears, the political elite, the parasitical classes, literally brown their trousers because the richest man on planet Earth is going, right on, Tommy. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Ant Middleton was brilliant. Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, I agree. Ant has a presence. And everybody knows, special forces. But, you know, there have been Paddy Panstown was special forces, seemingly. But there are other MPs that have gone into Parliament that are special forces. And he wants to bring London back to the Londoners. And nobody's going to disagree with that. So we have a situation where Ant was good, Tommy was good, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, Katie, some of the artists that were there. And I saw Soul Rebel, what's your Dougie vid aid about his current band, Top World. Thank you, Soul Rebel. And Alan says, I loved it when Elon appeared on screen. I mean, the whole house erupted, so to speak. But when Tommy was on at 6 o'clock telling everybody that the Westminster Council was trying to organise so it would kick off. And you know, the usual agents provocateurs, you know, the ones that the government hire, the right-wing thugs that go to the northeast of England. They were agents provocateurs, had naught to do with the northeast. And I would suggest that there was a little crowd of the usual suspects wanting it to kick off. They couldn't get it to kick off. I mean, there was a bit of a scuffle-ish. But it wasn't going to kick off so that the mainstream media tomorrow would go, see, told you, right-wing thugs. Didn't happen. Tommy said to everybody, don't engage. Please don't engage. That's what they want from us. Westminster Council. The government needs to have a word with that council, or when Farage gets in with reform, sack that fucking lot. Take the money off them and deal with them. Because this is unacceptable. People want to go to a rally, not a demonstration, to a rally, a peaceful rally, because people have had enough. And Westminster Council, cheeky tarts. Right on, brother. Right on, sister. You can go off. Once Farage is in and reform's in, you're away. Foxtrot Oscar, we've had enough of you. You and your wokerati. Trying to get it to kick off. Bit like Southport, they send the agents provocateurs in to make it look like, on telly, of course, on the Groove Tube, that it was the right-wing thugs that's kicking off. How do we end shite, man? Same thing in London. How do we end shite? Ray Norton, I am going to get to this, so let me continue with my notes. So let's compare the rally, the Unite the Kingdom rally, and Notting Hill. And this is from the BBC's reporting. So it's BBC Facts, because they'll have their fact checkers checking the facts, surely. So Unite the Kingdom, 26 arrests out of what could possibly be 1 million people. Notting Hill Carnival, 528 arrests on what is supposed to be a family day for bank holiday. Now, you can't get away from that. And surely you can see the problem with the mainstream media spin. There is something seriously wrong. It's utterly deplorable. So 26 arrests. It could have been for anything. But there was no weapons yesterday for the Unite the Kingdom rally. There was for Notting Hill. And there was no sexual assaults. There was nothing at the Unite the Kingdom rally. But there was at Notting Hill Carnival, and they're saying, oh, it's a family weekend, Notting Hill Carnival. I'll just say this once. Mainstream media, cheeky bastards. We don't believe you. We don't. I wouldn't even wipe my arse with you. But was this a social media rally? Are we now using different reporting? Is it because we don't believe the mainstream media? And we know that, as I've said to you, Unite the Kingdom, 26 arrests for all kinds of reasons, versus Notting Hill Carnival, 528 arrests. That's BBC reporting, BBC facts. It's been checked by the facts checkers. And I believe that this rally is a turning point in many differing ways. One of them is that the social media team, the YouTubers that live streamed it, can actually tell you the truth and live stream it on social media. Now, of course, a lot of the creators were there for the likes and the subs. But is that where we're going now? Is that where the real power is? Is that why they're going to turn the internet off for some people? I believe yesterday was a watershed in this country. People have had enough. People from all over the country came down. They heard one boy with a Brummie accent, and other people with a kind of a East London accent. And Elon, I think Elon, just his skin must crawl when he hears Democrats or Labour Party. Richest man in the world. And the BBC says we've been done up like a bunch of kippers. Tom Harney's. Is he Starmer? He's calling everyone at the rally far right. He's a moron, that boy. He's not going to last much longer. He's not. Shall we talk about him? How long we got? Yeah, well, very quickly. Now I'm going to dance around. Hang on a second. I'm going to ask you a question. It's not for sort of the comments or anything, but it's something I'm going to look at over the next few nights. One world order, the new world order, communism, Fabian society. But the one world order, how do we get there? What's the route map? There isn't one. So you've got the atheists, the communists, the Russians, the Chinese, the WEF, and Starmer. They don't. This is why I don't understand about Starmer. His wife's Jewish, so he's got to kind of respect Shabbat from Friday until Saturday night. But he still goes to the footy. Is this a legitimate gag, or has anybody else noticed that Starmer, his football team, is arse annual? Am I the only one to laugh at that? So the arse has an arse in the football team that he supports. But he should be communist because the left wing are communists. They're not bloody Christians. So we're heading towards a one world order where it's going to be communism versus Christianity. The Fabian version of socialism, communism light, not the Chinese Communist Party, and maybe not the version of the World Economic Forum in Davos. But is it going to go to communism light, where all men are equal, except some men are more equal than others? Yeah, the ones that'll eat steak and you'll just eat stuff that's been manufactured in a factory. That kind of communism, where Xi Ping Pong, he must be very upset at me calling him that. He has a lovely life. So does Vladimir Putin, the richest of the world. But the little Chinese scratching about in the soil for rice and food, impoverished. And the Russians live a very opulent lifestyle, from what I understand, because they've got loads of oil and gas. Energy independence. Rod says, I watched a segment from a barrister who stated that not only did UK security services warn the government about Mandelson, they also warned about the criminals coming over illegally by dinghies. Oh, I know. Let's get on to that. I just wanted to mention the one world order. Is it going to be communist or is it going to be Christianity? I think that's where we're going. So let's get to Starmer, because he deserves it. Oh, by the way, Downton Abbey. I wanted to tell you something, and I'll just say it in passing. I'm not going to go any deeper than this, and don't bloody egg me on either. But just Downton Abbey. I've no idea, but which thespian is rumoured to like a little pegging? Not that it's, linked to Downton Abbey or has anything to do with Downton Abbey, but which thespian is rumoured to like a little pegging? You know what it is now, after I told you about Prince William. I can't say, really, because they'll hang me out to dry. See what I did there? Pegging, hanging out to dry. Honestly, I'm wasted on you. So let's talk about Starmer. His future. And that will involve Mandy, because Mandy's the Prince of Darkness. And of course, Starmer bloody knew. Of course, 10 Downing Street knew. We knew. And we weren't even making the decision. We knew what Mandy had been up to. We'd seen the picture of Mandy and Epstein a million times. A million times. Oh, can I take this little belt for my shorts, Jeffrey? Yeah, Mandy. Yeah. We knew. And remember when Starmer, before he was elected, he said, and I quote directly, "I will restore standards in public life." 15 months in, the Labour Party couldn't help themselves. Socialist sleaze, the Fun Boy 3, the Four Tops. We've not heard of that. Well, have they been charged? Have they been through court? Just asking for a friend, because I've got some. But if you think about it, Starmer, because he's been Prime Minister, will eventually make it to the House of Lords. Might take his time, because there's a whole load of other morons in front of him that, Tony Blair is Oni Swaki Mali Ponce. He's up with the elite, as is John Major. But, you've got other idiots and morons. I mean, Bojo, the clown, he still hasn't got into the House of Lords. He'll go there because it's an automatic if you become Prime Minister. There's Ginger Growler. She's going to make a comeback in October. Oh, so when's Starmer going then? Because the way that Labour were operating, they used Starmer to get them into power. They were going to get rid of him. They were going to throw a whole load of sleaze and shite at him. And they were going to get rid of him. And they wanted Ginger Growler to be the first commoner, to be the first female Labour Prime Minister. The Walkerati, that's what they were after. They wanted Ginger Growler as Prime Minister. And what happened? Starmer did Ginger Growler's knees. Rumour has it. And other things. And he got rid of all the powerful from the front bench, apart from Rachel from accounts, because she's already done. She's finished. She's over because she's going to deliver the next budget in November. And they've delayed the budget again. This bloody Labour Party, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're just delaying everything. Man, you're talking 69, you're wrong. But he'll end up in the House of Lords. But first, he's going to be made to resign. Fall on your sword. Not pork sword, your sword. The Machiavellian sword that Mandy's going to bring round to number 10 for you. So the whispers in the corridors of power, Starmer's not up to the job. From what I've heard, he's up to certain jobs, just not this job. Said a spokesperson. So he's going to be made to resign. Now, the press today are saying, he's not up to the job and he's rudderless. Are you trying to tell me that Keir Starmer's got a hand on Attila? That's not Attila the Hun. That's Attila of a boat, you're wronging. So if you look at where Farage and Reform are, the public are laughing at the Labour Party. They're laughing at the Fabians. They're laughing at the arseholes. Open to interpretation. He does support arse and all. The public are just laughing at them because they don't know what's going on out on the streets. There's no right-wing thugs. It's just good, honest, working folk who've had enough of their shite. That's why I keep saying, you can had away and shite, man. So the Labour Party and the Tory Party and all of the other parties have barely got 40%. Barely. 40% of the electorate. And Reform are on 34%. So Reform are going to eviscerate, obliterate, flatten and wipe out all of the other political parties. Why? Because the people that vote have had enough of these arseholes. People have had enough. And they don't understand this. Oh, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. No, go off. You can't bribe us anymore. That's the thing. They can't. We know them because of their actions. We know them because of Southport. We know them because of the budgets. We know them because of the billions they're giving to the bloody Ukrainians. And the elite want that Ukrainian war to keep going for hundreds of years because they're making a shit ton of money out of it. It's the biggest laundromat in the world. And they're washing all the bloody money. Stewart, Sky News. Could Mandelson cause issues for Starmer? You bet your sweet bippy ye will. Oh, can you imagine? The best job in the world. No responsibility. Just float around as a gay man, because he's admitted he's a gay man now, after the stuff about Epstein came out. And what's going to happen is the Prince of Darkness is going to go, Prince Andrew. So all the emails, including the ones about Mandy. I'm not going to do Barry Manilow. Have you seen the video, Keir Starmer's a wanker? It's fantastic. It is proper fantastic. Scottish boatman singing Keir Starmer's a wanker. It's opinion, free speech. We're allowed to. So we know that we're looking at the man that's going to be made to resign. Now, I would hazard a guess that there's other stuff in the background that they don't want to come out because it would literally kill the Labour Party. But they put Starmer in there to get them into power. Now that they're in power, Ginger Growler's going to come back. She wants to be Prime Minister. She's still an MP. She can do. And they're talking about... what's his face? Andy Burnham from Manchester. They're talking about the Manchester Mafia. So Andy Burnham has to become an MP because he's just a mayor. He's not an MP. Has to become an MP, and then that way he's going to challenge Starmer. Starmer's going to be shitting himself. But there's people in the shadows that will say, young Keir, come here. You're going to resign. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm the Prime Minister, mate. I've got mates. I've got mates in Ukraine. I've got the French President and his husband. And I've got, the German President. And I've got mates, mate. Mates. Keir, you don't understand. You will resign. Otherwise, all this stuff that we've got on you is going to be made public. Do you want that to be made public? Or are you going to resign citing family reasons? Oh, well, now you come to mention it, I think I might just resign. They've got him by the sphericals. I would suggest that the public are sick and tired of this circus. Elon Musk calling for the dissolution of Parliament. Good on Elon, bloody hell. And Ginger Growler plotting her return. Andy Burnham. So what's going to happen? Thank you. Yes. Thank you, the old Bovril. We'll put that into the Three Nuns pension fund. They are Austrian, after all. As long as Klaus Schwab doesn't turn up. Brilliant. Yes, I do, Reg D. Thank you. So Andy Burnham has to become a member of Parliament. They reckon that the MP for, is it Greater Manchester? A guy called Andrew Gwynn. He's being suspended for something. And they call them rebels. Interesting. Terry Wookford says, wait for the budget. If Labour want rid of Starmer, he won't get it through. Vote of confidence will see him gone. Ooh. But this suspended MP, and I know the Labour Party will be planning 6 months, a year, 18 months ahead. So if Andrew Gwynn steps down, there's going to be a by-election. I've heard that about some MPs. I'll let you work it out. I've actually cracked a gag there, you're wrong. But the thing is, what they don't want is they don't want Farage and Reform putting anybody into Greater Manchester because Andy Burnham might come second. They're really worried that they're going to have to get a really safe seat for Andy Burnham to get in, for him to be the leader of the Labour Party and to get rid of two-tier free gear arse and all. So the Lord Mandy, that saga continues. Why? Well, the Prime Minister knew. Number 10 knew. No, I didn't. I think you find you did. It's all theatre, darling. It's all a movie. It's entertainment for ugly people. Mandy was appointed before formal vetting took place. And why did they not do formal vetting? Because it wasn't Starmer that appointed him. He was just told what to do. It was other people in the Labour Party. Have a guess. He's now on the board of WEF. Downing Street have confirmed he was appointed before the formal vetting took place. And now the word is, a new Prime Minister will need a general election. 2027, anyone? It's not going to be 2029, 2027. Because if they bizarrely go to the country, if they've got Andy Burnham as Prime Minister and they go to the country's going to give them a new mandate. Constitutionally, I mean, I know that we're becoming increasingly presidential in this country when it's not even a president, it's a bloody Prime Minister. But question is, Ginger Growler, is she going to challenge Burnham for the prime ministerialship and be the first female Labour Prime Minister? It's all up for grabs. My name's Adrian Allen. I think we'll leave it at that for tonight. I wanted to balance everything out, but I think it's gone the way that it was meant to go. Please, if you could smash the likes before we end tonight's live, it really would make a difference to the channel. If you haven't already seen it, there's a great video from DC Janet Percival that I suggest you watch from last Sunday's live. We have the David Icke that went live at lunchtime today. Thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate your support, sir. There's the David Icke video from today. It's an old one that I did, but I want to do more and more and more interviews because that's part of my skill set, and I will be doing them. But I got the, and thank you to Stu Sydenham for finding that and passing it over so we could upload it. Next live is Monday night, 7:30. We're going live tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. It'll be at 7:30 again. Some of the stuff that I haven't done tonight, we'll wait until tomorrow. We'll do it then. So thank you to everyone that was in the body of the Kirk this evening. Thank you to all of you. Smash the likes, please. I know we're 50 away, but we're a couple of hundred people all the way through watching this evening. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. Be safe, be well, wherever you go. Don't forget the emergency Battenberg, especially if there's a couple of Austrian nuns around you. And this is the Theatre of the Mind live number 236. It's not a show, it's a mission for truth and clarity. Thank you, Random. Thank you for your support. And that's what we do here. See you tomorrow night, 7:30. Be well. See you then.